Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So OCG metagame breakdown for half of November, late November, plus this is from Road of the King as always, but there are more decklists after this particular analysis, and that's from, at least those decklists were from past weekends, so December 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Let's start off with Road of the King again. We did this last time, so that's a little over a week ago. We are seeing some small changes with Terminal World being released, you know, the new set, subset, I guess, not a core set if I'm not mistaken, right? But Infernoids, you know, Ritual Beasts, Spiritual Beasts, etc. So let's see how much of an impact that had compared to the last time, which was the first weekend, you know, last week, the week before this particular weekend. So let's take a look. I don't think any surprises. These decks, again, have been the top decks, both Rescue Ace and Fire King. Same, I guess, spots as last time. Rescue Ace and Fire King, as we see here also from the tier list, are basically the decks to beat, right? Again, no exceptions. But there are some new decks that are popping up. Somewhat due to Terminal World, but also because of a couple of other reasons. Because of hand traps, etc. So the first decklist that's being used or featured here on Road of the King is basically a full straightforward Rescue Ace deck. Something to note is of course Populous here in the main deck, also one of the new cards for Snake Eyes, a superb card. Another thing here is that, and that's also something that Road of the King mentions, and also we mentioned last time, is the transition to different hand traps. And as we've seen before, Droll should be much more important, even though this decklist was not main decking Droll, but there are more decklists main decking, or they're starting to main deck Droll and Lockbird. And as we're seeing, or are seeing here in the side deck, things like Ghost Bell is popping up, obviously, you know, hitting those graveyard effects. Droll, as we've mentioned before, and also Nip. Road of the King mentions Nip is, and of course Droll are becoming somewhat of a tech choice here in this particular format. Over hand traps that target, like Veiler and Imperm, because of the elephant in the room. More of that in a couple of moments. So that's basically Rescue Ace, nothing too spectacular. Next on we have Fire King. Fire King caught my attention simply because Zealantis. We know Zealantis. Zealantis is a link for that people, you know, look at Zealantis, and I feel it's just a matter of time that this card will get abused in the near future. We have seen some abuse with what is it, a Draco Slayer in the past, right? You know, but here this time I'm not going to explain the full combo, but it's just a one card combo with your Snake Eyes Ash. You know, your level 1, that's a Searcher, basically the Stratos of the deck, which is full combo into Zealantis, into multiple effective uses, and you can pump out multiple big beat sticks and potentially go for a game. Also because of also one of the newer cards, which I initially thought would not have had, or would not have that kind of impact, but what is it, Promethean Princess, the new Link 3, twice, you know, here in Fire Kings. And another elephant in the room, looking at the card here in this case, is Soul Release. I guess another decklist, I mean, cards that kind of hit the graveyard are again super important, looking at, you know, like the two best decks being, first of all, Rescue Ace and mainly Fire King, where graveyard effects are super important, looking at Barong, looking at, you know, the new Garonix, the chibi, the small Garonix, etc. So stuff like Soul Release, even though I'm not so sure about Soul Release. I mean, it's searchable off of Thrust, so that could be cute. But again, I'm not so sure about Soul Release. I'm more of a fan of the other cards in the, in the third decklist featured here. So all cool, this one. The third decklist being Labyrinth. Labyrinth is such an annoying deck. Can play around, well, not play around Maxi, but it does play super well into Maxi. And of course, Maxi is super relevant in the OCG format. And the two cards that are very similar to Soul Release, in case of Labyrinth here, are the Ishizu cards, the Shufflers, that is. And, you know, they are superb with the furniture cards. And we already spoke about the two new trap additions, you know, to Labyrinth. One of them I butchered last time, Rumpel Teufel, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like the Prohibition-alike card, which again facilitates a potential discard, or, I mean, you could use its graveyard effect when discarded, for example. Same for Transaction Rollback. Those two traps definitely have like a small addition to Labyrinth success. So keep an eye out for those if you want to play a Labyrinth. And Nips in the main deck, that's cute. So the next one, again something that initially when the Snake Eyes cards were released, I didn't think they would make it into a pure... I mean, that was before Populous, that was before the Link 3, the Promethean Princess, so okay, things change, new cards are being added to the game. But we see pure Snake Eyes, and you know, featured at their boss monster, what is it, Flamberge Dragon, that's the name, you know, the one that picks up, phase up, continuous spells, monsters, special summons them and puts them, you know, to your side of the field. So intriguing, very, very intriguing to see how this deck is going to develop further, right, into the full December format, and I don't see this deck getting banned on their next list. It is what it is. Ah, the last one, the elephant in the room here for Road of the King, and that's Silent Force. Yeah, basically Silent Forcing, Silent Force. It's a new ritual deck, and I already featured it some time ago, a couple of months ago, and I feel it's a good deck. The problem with this deck, it has a lot of choke points, and also one of at least its biggest choke point at the same time as one of its most important cards, their New Herald. What is it? Novox, I believe. They're level 1. It gives you your ritual beneficial effects. And also they have some cute locking capabilities with the ritual being an Omni negation, so Ravis can be special summoned from the deck. You know, the one that negates monster effects plus prevents targeting when discarded. I believe it's their continuous spell that also could prevent targeting with those beneficial effects. So the deck is super consistent. And also it plays Preparation of Rites, could play Preparation, but it's playing Pre-Prep, which, you know, insane search card. It's not really relying on the extra deck, so it can play Pot of Extravagance, Pot of Greed. So keep an eye out for this one. Maybe in the TCG it might be a bit different, but it's a deck that can abuse Herald, Novox. It's an intriguing deck, but it might turn into... I'm not so sure how this deck is going second at a consistent base, but I mean, we'll see in the future how this is going to, you know, develop. So that's basically it for Road of the King. So intriguing analysis. Some extra deck lists. The first extra deck list we have here is another, you know, Silent Force deck list. I think second place, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Again, all sources will be in the video description. Pretty much the same, I think, yeah. Double call by, prep, you know, pre-prep, not prep, simply because there's no space, I guess, in the main deck. Plus draw is super important. Against this particular deck because of the searching capabilities. Failures are in this particular deck, but who knows, you know, people might drop them because of the new support or the other cards that we've mentioned before. The next one being Fire King, maybe a bit more heavy on Snake Eyes, but outside of that I don't think any, you know, different. The Bell in the main deck, other than that, no surprises. Ritual Beast. So how is Ritual Beast doing? The thing about Ritual Beast is that it's a super hard deck to play, and it has some choke points, but at the same time it's a super anti-meta deck. It can run Shifter, maybe for us TCG players, you know, as we've seen Kashtira some weeks ago, post ban list, you know, main decking Fisher and stuff like that. Super anti-meta. But it has so many choke points that I'm not so sure if Ritual Beast can keep up with the other more powerful decks. Time will tell. Ritual Beast. Next one is also a deck that I had some high hopes for, especially because of the OCG still having Electromite. But Supreme King Darkworm shenanigans, it's falling short, even though it can do some cute tricks with that trap, you know, special summoning, all of those odd eye stuff. So intriguing still, but not enough. The other decks are, you know, just far more powerful. And then last, a deck that I also are an archetype, you know, because of Terminal World, that also I was looking forward a lot, even though, you know, the OCG still has grass looks greener, is Infernoids. Infernoids. Phantasma is in the main deck. And he's even side decking grass, right? Intriguing. So I'm not so sure about Infernoids. The thing is that they cannot really end on a super powerful, many negations dot field, maybe a couple of them, and that's it. So it's kind of weakish on that part. Then again, it's, you know, you're probably going for seconds with those Nips, Phantasmace, Maxi, Ash, and of course your, you know, Shuttle Fusion alike Infernoid fusion spell. So, you know, capitalizing your fusion materials to send them from your deck to the graveyard. So basically a big Foolish Burial. But it's falling short. Too many choke points, and consistency might be an issue for this one. Okay, so that's it for this time. December, we'll see how the format is going to develop. Is Silent Force going to pull through? Or, you know, are Rescue Ace and Fire King standing still? Or can they keep a steady state with, you know, both Snake Eyes and Labyrinth? We'll see. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Riddim signing out. Peace.